Releasing on August 15th is Agents of Mayhem from the creators of Saints Row. Pre-order at the affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and man, you know what really sucks? College. I say that all the time. Colleges, universities, they've all gone to hell these days, especially when it comes down to dealing with microaggressions, which it just feels like nothing more than a term used for people who are so insecure in their own bodies that anything they don't quite understand is a microaggression. You didn't look that person in the eye. That's a microaggression. Right? That's what they do nowadays. But it says here that a professor has been advised to treat racial microaggressions in classrooms like assault. But the thing is, everything is a racial microaggression. The whole not looking at somebody in the eyes, that stemmed from, as a white man walking down, if I see a person of color walking towards me and I don't look them in the eyes for whatever reason, that's a racial microaggression. That is the world we live in now. Let's find this out here. So professors attending a recent academic conference were advised to treat racial microaggressions in the classroom like actual assaults, according to the attendees' tweets. The advice was doled out at a panel workshop at the Annual Association for Theater and Higher Education Conference held in Las Vegas earlier this month, which, let's be fair, when it comes to the theater, everything's over dramatic, which is one of the reasons why this somewhat makes sense in how it was proposed. It was over dramatic. If it's a racial microaggression, you must treat it as if it's assault. Right? The workshop at which the comments were made focused on ways to make theaters for students of color a safe space, according to the conference's program. You know, there's a great... When I was in high school, when I was in theater, there was a sign over the door to the stage saying, leave it at the door, which is your ego, anything else going on, your home life, anything else. When you're there on the stage, when you're there to work, you are there to portray another character. You are transporting yourself to a mystical land of make-believe to tell a story in front of an audience. You leave all that crap home or at the door. But no, nowadays, it's all about creating a safe space. Even the theater is considered a safe space. And people want it even safer by treating microaggressions like assault. I mean, come on, right? So, a panel discussion exploring the adoption of safe spaces, LQBTQ training models, that's got to be a typo right there, and applying it to faculty training. I'm sorry, LQBTQ, what is that, like a really weird version of HAL from 2001? Treating racism in our classrooms as we would an assault removes the burden from the victim and begins to create a safe space. One scholar in attendance, Professor Shauna Mefford-Kelty of SUNY Plattsburgh, tweeted out. Another attendee, Penn State professor Jean-Marie Higgins, also tweeted, faculty treat racist microaggressions in classroom as you would assault. Overtalking puts burden on students of color. Both these things here. We'll just take a look at both these things here. So, faculty treat racist microaggressions in classrooms as you would assault. Overtalking puts the burden on students of color. But what is the context there? Is that you're trying to give directions for how you want the stage presence to take place? You want you are directing your student who happens to be a student of color, and if they might disagree with you, and if you tell them this is what you want being the director, is that over talking them? Is that making you the bad guy? Is that a racial microaggression? Is that assault? Or treating racism in our classrooms as they would an assault removes the burden from the victim and begins to create a safe space. Okay, if someone walked up to someone who was of another skin tone and called them a racial epithet, then yes, I would understand removing that person from the classroom. But if it's just like over talking somebody or not looking them in the eyes as they pass by you, this is when you go down a really dangerous slippery slope here. And of course, no one seems to care because they are like legitimately actively trying to push this nonsense in classes. So the comments are attributed to Iva Christie Papalier, or Papalier, whatever, listed in the program as a Georgia college educator. Papalier, Papalier, whatever, could not be located for comment. An email sent to her Georgia college address was rejected as undeliverable. So that's kind of an interesting one. But Dr. Mefford-Kelty in an email to the college, Flicks put the comments in context, saying, "The tweet was in reference to a session on creating safe spaces for theater students of color. Specifically, it was a quote from one of the speakers, and to clarify, if we as faculty treated victims of racism and microaggressions the way we would if somebody were physically assaulted, we would then remove the burden from the victim. We don't ask someone who was punched in the gut whether or not it really happened. We don't ask victims of physical violence to have to justify their trauma. It wasn't a comment about retaliatory violence. It was about believing and supporting our students of color." Am I the only one that feels like the next phase they would push from this would be like Title IX? They would be arguing Title IX, like, well, this person, made a comment and it was a racial microaggression, and therefore they violated Title IX. This is as bad as them sexually assaulting the student. No, if someone was punched in the gut, you would ask them if it happened, or you'd ask them who did it. Then you'd ask that person, did you do it? This is the whole problem here. It's automatically assigning guilt to the accused and not even giving them the opportunity to come forward. And this also puts that ammo in the hands of the students of color. It puts that almost like that dead man switch in their hand. It's like that, you gonna say another word? Because I will claim microaggression. I will hit this button. The Association for Theater and Higher Education describes itself as a comprehensive nonprofit professional membership organization. Participants at the annual conference utilized the hashtag to share what they learned, and they clearly shared it with the rest of us, and now we know what kind of really dumb stuff they're trying to put through. It's like, look, I don't advocate racism. I don't advocate sexism. I don't advocate for any of these sort of things, but not everything is racist and not everything is sexist. And giving the tools to students who might have the ability to take a simple joke or a simple non-looking at someone in the eye and therefore accuse them of something that they didn't do without giving them the opportunity to fight back and to defend themselves feels like it's putting Title IX on this dead man switch. I mean, it's like the next evolutionary phase. One speaker talked about her feminist anti-racist approach to teaching musical theater history. Another tweet stemming from the conference stated that game shows are white propaganda, reflect what whites believe, so they don't have to face the world they created. Wow. Okay. The game show tweet was from Professor Gibson Sema of the American University. He told the College Fix that he was simply tweeting out arguments others made at the conference and that the sentiments are not necessarily reflective of his personal opinion. Well, then why would you tweet it out? Why would you tweet it out then? If it's not your personal opinion and you're not sitting there and you're there, I mean, it kind of feels like that's what you're saying. I was just tweeting it out. No. Either you're looking to get the logical, rational people that are going to be criticizing this shit on your side, or you're just trying to play it. I don't quite know, but that's ridiculous. Saying here, Wheel of Fortune under fire for appearing to depict slave something. And that's part of it. That's part of the propaganda that they used. That's just insane. It says, I am the focus group representative for the theory and criticism focus group of the Association for Theater and Higher Education. My role as FGR, I maintain our web presence throughout the annual conference by tweeting the arguments of papers that are presented during our panels and roundtables. Okay, fine. I guess that's a valid thing. He goes on to say, if you check my feed, you will find many such tweets tracing the conversations being had by our members. The tweets that you mentioned do not reflect my personal opinions. Rather, they repeat the arguments advanced at an academic conference for the benefit of members attending and those in the wider field who were unable to attend. I don't know if anything that they've said from this whole thing benefits anybody. I mean, like, literally, at the end of the day, does this actually benefit anybody? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It takes away any and all responsibility to have a dialogue or to call someone out in that moment in time for shitty behavior if you deem it to be shitty behavior. If you could sit there and blame everyone you don't like for something you thought happened on racism and then have them removed, what is that going to do? Especially when you remove all the problems, but you still have that dead man switch, and then all of a sudden, Oppression Olympics begin, you turn on each other, and then all of a sudden, boom,